Today, you'll learn about the 2 hardest words to say in the English language. Hi there, everyone. It's Jeff, and this is Plain English for Monday, July 28th, 2025. Here at Plain English, we tell stories to help you learn about the world and learn about your new language. It can sometimes be hard to find the right words in any language, and today's episode is about one such situation. So are you ready for the 2 hardest words in English? They are, I'm sorry. In today's episode, you'll learn how to apologize and mean it. This is a classic episode of Plain English. It originally came out in September 2021. The episode number was 402, so you can find the transcript of this episode at plainenglish.com/402. Now, let's take a look back at this advice on how to form an effective apology. Before we start today's story, I'd just like to remind you that the podcast is just one part of how we can help you upgrade your English skills. At plainenglish.com, you can make faster progress with active learning strategies. You can take quizzes, do activities, listen to the fast version of the audio, watch video workshops, practice what you learn, and even join a live call with JR and me. It's all about helping you build your skills to become a better, more confident English speaker. Sound good? Go to plainenglish.com to start your free 14-day trial today. Now, let's jump into today's story. We've all heard them, the non-apologetic apologies. They typically go something like this. I'm sorry if I hurt your feelings. Or, I'm sorry that I offended some people. Or, even better, I'm sorry some people were offended. This is an artful way of working the words I'm sorry into a statement that is not truly an apology. In fact, these statements deflect the blame from the speaker back onto the listener. The real problem here is not what I did, but the way you reacted to it. The other classic non-apology is the excuse-making apology. These typically include the word but. I'm sorry I was late, but the traffic was really bad. I'm sorry I missed the deadline, but I was under a lot of stress. Statements like this might be better than nothing, but we, as listeners, know they are not sincere apologies. So, if we know what a good apology is not, then what are the characteristics of a good apology? Psychologists have studied the issue, and they have identified 6 characteristics of a good apology. They are an expression of regret, an explanation of what happened, an acknowledgement of responsibility, a declaration of repentance, an offer of repair, and a request for forgiveness. That sounds like a lot, and it is, but not every true apology needs all 6 of those elements. If you are ever in a situation where you need to apologize for something, do consider using some combination of these 6 ingredients. And if you need to apologize for something really bad or something really serious, then pull out all the stops and use all 6. We'll talk about each step in order, and we'll create a sincere apology as we go along. So pretend you were supposed to meet your friend for lunch at noon, but you didn't arrive until 1:30 in the afternoon. So let's practice the 6 steps in this situation. Number 1 was an expression of regret. This is the "I'm sorry" statement where you show that looking back, you wish something had been different. It's the way you start something off. I'm sorry I was late. Okay? Next, you can explain what happened. The listener is often curious about the circumstances of a wrongful action, so you can offer a little bit of information here. Be careful not to make this sound like an excuse. You can accept blame and explain at the same time. Instead of saying, I'm sorry I was late, but traffic was really bad, you can say instead, I'm sorry I was late, traffic was very bad today. Number 3 is an acknowledgement of responsibility. You don't blame the traffic, you blame yourself. So you can say, I misjudged the traffic at this time of day, and I didn't leave early enough. That's an example of putting the blame on yourself. The 4th step is a declaration of repentance. This is the time to show that you personally know there was harm done by your actions. It's time to acknowledge the effect on the other person. You can work another I'm sorry in here too if you need to. Notice that the action and the harm done are different. The action is that you were an hour and a half late, but the harm done is that the other person lost an hour and a half of their afternoon, or the other person had to sit alone awkwardly in a crowded restaurant. When you declare repentance, you want to focus on the harm done to the other person. For example, you were waiting alone in a crowded restaurant for over an hour when you could have been at home. I'm sorry to have left you waiting for so long. Next up, an offer of repair. You want to do something for the other person. The objective isn't to buy the other person's forgiveness. Instead, you want to show the other person you're serious about making amends. You want to put your money where your mouth is. Again, it doesn't have to be a big offer of repair, but it should be something. You can say, let me pick up the check for lunch today, or next time we'll go to the restaurant near your house so you don't have to travel as far. Something like that. The last element is a little controversial. You can ask for forgiveness.
you don't want to demand or expect forgiveness, but you can request it. I hope you'll forgive me for making you wait. When you request forgiveness, keep in mind that you, as the offending party, you don't have a right to forgiveness. You can only request it. The wronged party can choose to forgive you or not, and can choose when to do so, if ever. So I left you waiting for an hour and a half at a crowded restaurant. Here's what my apology sounds like, all put together. I'm sorry I was late. Traffic was bad today, but I totally misjudged how much time it would take on a Saturday afternoon, and I didn't leave early enough. I feel so bad you were waiting here for an hour with nothing to do. Would you let me pick up the check today? Now that's a long apology for being late, but you get the idea. That sounds a lot better than, I'm sorry, but traffic was bad, right? Personally, I would like to hear far, far fewer apologies, but I would like the apologies I do hear to be more sincere. I also don't love the tendency in our society to demand an apology and then to criticize the person apologizing for not being sincere. A thoughtful apology is good for the speaker as well as the listener. When we do something wrong, we often try to protect ourselves by being defensive. I'm sorry, but deflects the blame. And that might reduce the initial tension, but it doesn't resolve true feelings of regret. So next time you do something wrong, even something small, try to put 3 or 4 of these ingredients together in a true apology and see how it goes.
So there you go, how to apologize. If you liked this episode, we've got a lot more in our archives. They're all arranged for you to explore by topic at plainenglish.com. So if you're not a member yet, check that out, plainenglish.com, and sign up. It'll be easy to explore once you're in there. But for now, we've reached the end of our time together. This again was episode 402, so you can find the full transcript, quiz, and exercises at plainenglish.com/402. We'll be back on Thursday with one more classic episode from the archives. There were once 9,000 of them, and now there's just one. Wait until Thursday to find out what it is. See you then. Listen up if you speak Spanish, Portuguese, Chinese, German, French, Italian, Japanese, Polish, or Turkish. One of the most frustrating things about listening and reading in a second language is being confused by unfamiliar words or phrases. When you listen to plain English, or when you read the transcript, you probably encounter some words you don't know. When that happens, you have a few options. You can stop the audio, go look up the definition, then return to the episode, find your place, and press play again, but that's exhausting. Or you can just skip it and be confused. That's no fun either. But what if you could see the translation of the word into your language instantly without having to stop the audio, without having to look anything up? Well, you can at plainenglish.com. For each episode, we translate about 100 words and phrases from English to 9 languages: Spanish, Portuguese, Chinese, German, French, Italian, Japanese, Polish, and Turkish. And we highlight those words in blue. All you have to do is hover your mouse over the highlighted word and you'll see the translation instantly. It works great on mobile too. It really makes listening a lot more satisfying, and it's a great way to expand your vocabulary in English. The best way to see these translations is to sign up for a free 14-day trial at plainenglish.com. During your trial, you can read as many transcripts as you like, all with the translations into your language. So sign up for your free trial today at plainenglish.com.